What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Imperfect Action Show. This is a special episode, at least for me, because this guest I've been trying to get on for a long time.
This is
I
true.
guess what they say, right? You have a little bit of persistence, some consistency. I got this formula that I call C plus D squared equals S, which is consistency, discipline, and just doing more. You're going to get to success. So she's a voice of personal branding, and she helps you grow on social. Miss Nikki Sanders, welcome to the Imperfect Action Show.
What's poppin'? How you
What's
feeling?
going on? Everything's smooth on this side.
Good.
Had a little bit of technical difficulties with this microphone this morning, but we just gotta make it better. That's all.
It's all good. It happens. It happens.
So usually what I do is I'll let the guests let the people know a little bit about them, and I'm gonna send out a quick little reminder to the community, let them know that we're on and popping. So if you wouldn't mind, let the people know a little bit about who the voice of personal branding really is. And I'll just remind the guests that we're going in right now.
Yeah, I got you. So, for those who don't know, I'm Nikki. I'm just a kid from Queens who happens to be really addicted to social media and really found a niche within it, helping people, particularly personal brands, really take content and elevate their mission and their goals and their impact within the community, pretty much the world. So, for those who don't know, I work with number one motivational speaker, Dr. Eric Thomas, and I've helped his social media grow from 300K to 2.1 million on Instagram. We're about 2 mil on Facebook. We reached over a mil on YouTube. So, you know, I may know a few things about content and social media, just a few things. I mean,
So what attracted you to the amplification of messages through social? Like, what was it about it that kind of resonated with you? Like, how did that niche work for you?
so I realized that social media is a tool to just be yourself, right? And that once you figured out that you could really be who you are and there's an audience that attracts to you globally, it was a wrap from there. Like it's too easy once you really figure out your style and you figure out what type of content really works for you and you figure out the consistency part of it.
Mm.
And then you, like, if anybody was to look, and I'm going a little bit too advanced, but if anybody was to look at their insights real quick and go to country and not necessarily city, you're going to realize that there's people all over the world that watch you and looks at your content regardless of your following count. There's somebody somewhere overseas, whether you are based in the US, whether you're based in Europe or whatever, there's
Mm.
somebody on all the way on the other side of the world watching your stuff. After I figured that out, I was like, oh, I'm going all in on it.
With that information, how do you think that information could help a creator? So if a creator knows that, okay, wow, they're checking me out in Africa right now,
Yeah.
right? How could they apply that information to their strategy to take advantage of that audience that they may have in a whole nother country?
I think it relieves the stress of wanting to post at specific times. You
Mm.
know, the one of the biggest questions that I get is, yo, Nikki, what time do I post to get the maximum reach? And I say it doesn't really matter because there's somebody up every single second of every single hour and everything like that. So once you understand that your content and your brand is already a global brand, it's more of just being tapped into the consistency. It's
Yeah.
more of being, okay, it's not just about the city that I live in, the state that I live in. It's like I got to show up for people who I didn't even think understood English, people who I didn't think I understood the language that I speak. I have to show up for them. So we start to have a bigger purpose and a bigger responsibility. And once we understand that, we can then figure out, okay, what is the content that I could really stay consistent with when if somebody was to wake me up at 3:47 in the morning? What is
Yeah.
that type of content? And I'm going to do that type of content every single day because that's the one that comes natural to me. And then when I look at it, I can analyze, oh, snap, you know what? I could try this. I could try that. I got this on lock. I could try this. Once you have a certain type of content uh, on autopilot, then you could try all these other things that will help expand your brand to, other places.
So I think that's great how you mentioned that. But what are some of the ways somebody can like find their style? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're just starting, or maybe you've been creating content for a while, you have you're just putting things out there. How
Yeah.
does one find their style that becomes like unique to them, and then they kind of get in the groove?
So there's two ways. One, research and remix. What I mean by that is pick about 5 to 10 thought leaders in your industry, and then three people that are outside of your industry that you just love watching their content, right? And pick one thing, not everything, one thing out of each person and test it out on your own stuff because you're going to be a remix of your whole industry. You could do it that way. And then obviously add your own flavor to it. Because as you're picking things from, like, I like that font, but I like that transition, but I like how they do their captions, but I like this. All together, no one's seen it. They can understand you've been influenced, but altogether, they've never seen that type of style because now it's all the things that they like into one, right?
Mm,
Plus with your own vibes. So
yep.
research and remix is one. Two, shut it all the way down and just create and analyze after 3 weeks, right? I like that more because you can't you're showing up as you. Sometimes when we do the research, we do get stuck on one or two people. And then all of a sudden we are a mirror image of
Of
that,
that person, yeah,
right? So it's a struggle for some. When I say do 5 to 10, they'll stop at 3,
yeah.
you know, and then they'll look at it and they'll, yo, you look exactly like that. You sound exactly like that. That doesn't even sound like you. You're saying words that I've never heard you say. So, somewhat of just when you're finally taking this serious, shutting it all the way down from what you consume and putting out what you think is your style. And as we're our worst critics,
That's
we're
true.
and our hardest critics. So when we put something out, especially in the beginning, we're instantly going to think it sucks. That's fine. Be better the next time. Be better the next time. You know, try a new app. Try something else. Look at YouTube and look up how to do this, how to do that. There's so many things you could look up on YouTube or go to some of these experts that do content creation, do personal branding, and then be like, okay, every single time I create content, I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit and allow analytics to speak and not my feelings, because my feelings is always going to say that I suck.
100%.
So you got to let that sit. See, okay, did my views increase? Did my likes increase? Did I get some comments? And not based off the expectations of what you think, because everybody thinks we're supposed to get hundreds and thousands of likes and views for it to be successful, when in all actuality you could have already went viral and you didn't even know it because you had the biggest gains in that year, in that whole time you've created your brand. But you're saying that viral is thousands and millions of people coming to you and watching you. No, this is why you need to understand your baseline of what is my average likes, comments, save, shares, all that. What is my baseline? And every week that I'm looking at my analytics, am I at my baseline or am I more? Am I at my baseline or am I lower? Because if I'm lower, now I have to scrap these things. But if you don't know your baseline and you're going based off, yo, this sucked because I felt like it did this, that. That's how we get discouraged. That's how we become inconsistent. And that's how we're making all these wrong strategy moves with our brand and our content, because we're moving more off of feelings than stats.
And you can't have a baseline if you're not posting enough to kind of get like a minimum amount of an idea of, okay, I posted these 5 things. This is my baseline. I'm getting this amount of, this amount of comments, this amount of likes,
Yep.
this amount of views, things like that. So we got a question coming through from the King Entrepreneur. How do we know when we are shadow banned and we start to use ads for our business? So how do we know when we are shadow banned and when to start using ads for our business?
So it's hard to say, for the simple fact that Instagram and Meta have already put out they don't shadow ban. Now, we do know that does still sort of happen. So one of the ways to test it out is get like a very unique hashtag, something that has like less than 100 posts or absolutely no post at all, and use that hashtag and see if it shows up. If it doesn't show up, you may be shadow banned. How they say is restricted, right? They don't necessarily say shadow banned. But if it's just a matter of that your numbers went down, is that your content isn't working anymore. It doesn't mean that you're shadow banned.
That's a good point. I noticed like on live, at least Instagram live, like for me, this was maybe a couple of months. Well, actually, this is really how the Imperfect Action Show started, right?
Mhm.
So before the show started, I had a goal of going live every single day, right? At least an
Right.
hour. And I think I got to day like 22. When I got to day 22, um, that same day, I got some really cool testimonials, right? And I was like, yo, let me share some of these. So I
Yep.
shared one specifically in my story.
Mhm.
And what happened was, I guess the algorithm, when it caught like the way, my mentee like said certain words or something, they
Mhm.
flagged it as like inappropriate language or whatever. But she didn't say nothing bad. It was just kind of like maybe the way that she said the words or like the phrase or whatever.
Right.
So what I noticed was I instantly I got a strike, and I was like, whoa, I didn't get a strike. This doesn't make sense. So I uploaded it again because I'm like, this has to be a mistake. And then they gave me another strike. So what happened was
Mm.
I couldn't go live for like a little over a week. So I'm like, well, my goal is to go live every single day. Boom, started the Imperfect Action Show on YouTube. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because what I noticed when I do go live now on Instagram, to your point about shadow banned or restricted,
Yeah.
when I get to a certain, I think if I go an hour or maybe a little over an hour, now at the top, my lives give me a countdown. Like it'll give me a 2-minute countdown. It'll be like, okay,
Mm.
you got 2 minutes. Oh, wrap it up.
Yeah.
We cutting it off. So I guess to King Entrepreneurs, point, at least for me, that's what I noticed, at least on live, there's something there. And the fact that now, okay, how do I get out of that situation? Because communicating with customer service on social, on at least Instagram specifically, is difficult, right? You can't just go there, ask a question on an email, and get it back. You kind of go through some hoops and stuff like that. So
Right.
that's one of the things that I noticed, which is one of the reasons why I came on YouTube to build my channel and then just kind of go live right there. So I kind of understand what he's saying, but I guess you just got to pivot, a
Understood.
little bit.
Yeah. No, Instagram, Meta in general, they're very sensitive. I'll say that. They're very sensitive, and we have to understand we're on their digital real estate.
Yep.
We can't necessarily control what they do. And even though we do feel a sense of like ownership, this is my profile, this is
Yep.
my content. Once you're on their platform, it's not it's not your platform. It's not your profile. We literally rent
Yeah.
this space,
That
and we
we don't
just
pay for.
yeah. And the thing is, we just have to learn how to leverage the joint. It's not about uh feeling true ownership with it. It's leveraging to get them on your own platform. What are you doing to do that? So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a battle with Meta.
So what's the tricks and hacks for that? Because I think, that's one of the questions I was going to ask you for people that may want to know, okay, cool. I'm on social, I'm
Yeah.
posting.
Yeah.
Um, I got links in my bio and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, how do I now take these people from Instagram and then, or another platform, and then what do I do with them? How do I get them off there and get them in a group or something like
Yeah, well, so it's all about what are you offering, right? From a free standpoint to a paid standpoint, right? We're if we found you on things like YouTube, Instagram, we're comfortable there. And I don't necessarily I need a reason to get off this to follow you somewhere else, right? So if we're talking about maybe an email list or a text group, what are you doing that is different than your social media? Like they don't want to feel super
that?
sold to, they want more value. They already get value from here. Are you going to give me more, right? So for example, for anybody who has a text community, um are you giving maybe daily tips that is not on, your Instagram or your Facebook or anything like that? Are you giving them, if you are, let's say, in finances, are you giving them stock picks that you can't necessarily do on social media, right? Are you giving them something exclusive for if you want to build your email list? Are you giving them a checklist that they can't find anywhere else that's going to make their life better? Are you giving them a ebook that takes them steps by step of how to do a podcast? You know, what are you giving them to get them on your specific list? Now, if you're talking about a community, right? Once again, what is something that they're not going to get on social media? You have to give them a completely different experience. What some people do is they build a community, whether it's a Facebook group, whether it's Mighty Networks, whether it's anything, their text message, and all they do is share what they've done on social media, and it doesn't give them a real good reason to stay. So they may get off and follow you here, but they still go with, I'm not really sure. I'm not comfortable here. And if all you're doing is sharing your stuff from social media, they're going to leave. It's going to be a quick turnover rate. So, what are you doing that is making them intrigued and curious to get off social media, to support you, to be with other like-minded people, to purchase something eventually? So that you got to think of those kind of things. And it's not really as hard as people may think. Like normally some of the free stuff that we can give is things that we put so little thought to.
Yeah,
Like no one would want this, no one would want that. Like they could look that up themselves. If they could, they would, but they haven't. So you are that kind of middle person in order to, if you look up something every single day, there's somebody who doesn't. So put it
100%.
in their, digital toolbox for them to use later on. So yeah, just think of those types of things.
And another thing I would just kind of add to what Nikki said is you got to ask and kind of direct them.
Mhm.
Like you can't expect that they're just gonna click that link in the bio or go to where you want them to go to get into the text community or get into your email list or your Facebook group. We got a couple other questions just popped in.
Yeah.
Um, Abby, the teaching afar, she says she's thinking about pivoting from her podcast to lives because she's buried in editing.
Mhm.
So, what do you say about that? Should she keep them both going? Should she get a VA? What would be a good way for her to possibly keep the podcast, or should she just go all the way live?
I think you have to understand your resources, right? If you don't have uh, the resources to do video editing, whether from a budget standpoint or just a personnel standpoint or even skill standpoint, live is just fine, right? It's a more organic. There's a lot of live shows that have turned into podcasts,
That's true.
right? So, and they're just as uh valuable. They're just as engaging as if it was super edited, right? Now, the only thing that I will say is from a video standpoint, you could keep it that way. But from an audio standpoint, I would still say get that, you know, give that to an audio engineer to fix up the sound. Because even those, when you get, let's say, a guest who maybe doesn't have the right mic and just has straight from their phone or straight from their, computer, an audio engineer is still going to be able to tweak it up to where it sounds almost leveled to you. So I would say that. But from a video thing, and especially if you're just trying to stay consistent, if live is better, go live. I love lives. Go live. We have a live show that we're going to turn into a podcast. So all for that. But when you start taking YouTube serious, then the editing has to come in play. But to begin it, you're good.
So Kurt the Connector asks, how are you serving and giving, and what are you giving to get? I guess he's going back to the question of like,
I think that's just. I think that's him engaging with the audience. That's
okay,
Kurt.
okay. All right, cool,
That's
cool.
Kurt.
all right, cool. So, when the conversation goes to like being prolific, right, and obviously having omnipresence, when should a creator look to do that? Like, when should they look to diversify on other platforms?
When you have it on super autopilot with one, that you've mastered one, right? What a lot of creators do is they hear, and shout out to the people who do say be on all platforms, but those people have teams or have pure systems that they're not really teaching how to do that. They're just saying you need to be on all platforms because there's different audiences, and to an extent that's true. But in all due time, you have to understand each social media channel has same theory, different language. So you have to understand, what am I doing on one specific platform? What is my cadence on it? What is my tone on it? Do I know how to build a community? And once that's done, then you could repurpose all the stuff that you've done on one platform and put it onto the other ones. It's not about creating brand new content for all these different platforms. It's about giving a different experience, right? So if for example, let's say I always say it's the main boo. My main boo is Instagram, right? That's my main platform. Now, I know that Facebook likes long form video. So if I was to take Facebook serious, then I would say, okay, let me do these reels on Instagram because that's where the energy is towards right now. But let me give a longer version of it on Facebook, right? So same thing, but different formatting, different experience, right? Now, this is why on YouTube you could get long form videos, but you get the clips on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You get the quotes on Twitter. Like, it's all about giving different experiences, but you have to master one so you understand how to be consistent, understand the content style that you like, understand the tone that you're going to be giving. And then as you have this catalog of content, then you don't have to recreate the wheel. You could take this thing that you did 6 months ago and put it on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, and it's brand new to them. They're like, "Oh my God, this is great." And then when they go on your Instagram, because now they just want to follow you places, they can't find it because it was 6 months ago. So it's all about figuring out one and then branching out to the others once you have a system, whether it is using a scheduling app like Later, Creator Studio, Business Suite, Buffer, whatever you choose, whether it's doing that or whether having your own social media manager eventually.
Yeah, I think that makes sense too. A social media manager, someone that can kind of take some strategies that you may have, definitely help you disseminate all the content on different platforms, help you out with the editing, the planning. That's definitely next level when someone's ready to do that, and it frees you up, right? So now you can focus on like high ROI activities. Angela asks, when it comes to text communities,
Mhm.
what are some good text communities to consider?
So I use Community, and another good one is Superphone. That one's founded by Ryan Leslie, super dope guy. Um, but Community and Superphone are the two that I recommend.
Makisha asks, when do you know that you mastered a platform?
When your following is pretty dope, your engagement's pretty dope. You
Yeah,
know, you feeling good about it. You understand, like, okay, I know what works and what doesn't. Like, there's no guessing with that. Like, I know what videos, if I wanted to go, to make. I know what topics to
yeah,
hit. I know what style, uh what kind. Is it phone type? Is it the camera type? I know um what time to go live. I know these particular things. So once you have that feeling of it, then you can go, all right, let me test out LinkedIn, because that's where organic vibes are still happening as well. Let me test out TikTok, because I'm hearing everybody's growing on TikTok. Like,
yeah.
so once you have that warm and fuzzy about one platform and the stats show the same thing, then you can move on to a next.
So we got another question. This is from Stizzo. She wants to know, who are the 3 to 5 people you think are killing content right now,
Hmm.
and we should pay attention to regardless of the topic in the
Mm.
target audiences.
Um, I'm always going to say Gary V. That man always kills content, right? But from a reachable level, right? I would say David Shantz is doing amazing with content, with what he's doing with his podcast. Shout out to Neo. Neo is always dropping something. But then I always look at outside of, you know, personal brands. And so I'm looking at Bleacher Report. I'm looking at ESPN. I'm looking at Shannon Sharp and how he
Yeah.
does
He,
his
he, does,
content.
he does pretty good. He does pretty
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at outside of it, because when you look outside the box and you bring it into your industry, you look like a goat. You like, yo, I've never seen that before. Yeah, you've never seen it in this particular industry,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I always suggest people to look outside the box, because that's what's missing in your lane. What they're doing over here, what comedians are doing, what painters are doing, what music artists are doing, is missing within your lane of life coach, is
Yeah.
missing within your lane of let's say funnel hacking. It's missing. So look outside the box. But those are some of the people that I look at that have been killing the game.
So what about when it comes to building relationships? So
Hmm.
someone's on social.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? I need to get more clients. So I want to do some collaborations.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to do a joint live and stuff like that. What
Mhm.
are some of the ways people can build some relationships, partnerships on social?
um I'm gonna go with 2 ways. One, typical, shoot your shot, right? Just shoot your shot. If you want to work with somebody, shoot your shot, but shoot your shot correctly. Meaning, don't make it about you, make it about them. What can they gain from working with you, collaborating with you, talking to you? What can they gain? Like, whether it's a warm and fuzzy, let's say you compliment them out. And then I'm not saying kiss behind. I'm not saying that. But you should want to work with people that you genuinely like look up to, right? That you genuinely see a mutual value situation. So there is some compliments that, yo, I love how you do this. I love how you do that, right? Um, Talk to them like that. Shoot your shot in that way. Two, a way that's worked for me is create as if they're already working with you. So some cool
Yeah, I
ways to
like
do
that.
that
I like that.
is, if you're on Instagram, there's this amazing thing called remix, right? That's a way of collaborating with people without you even asking, right?
Yeah.
But it's showing that you are highlighting them on a regular. There there's a reason why I do the podcast the way I do. I have a podcast called Nikki and Moose, and we take clips from interviews and we break it all the way down. We did that with one person called Brett Barish, right, who is the man behind Luke Belair, Ace of Spades, Duce, and we took a clip, we tagged him, we send it to his DMs, we say, "Yo, appreciate all the gems that you've dropped in all these interviews," in which he's like, "Yo, I would love to jump on your podcast." By creating as if they're already on your platform, it already shows them the value of being on your platform. Oh, I don't have to do any, like, you're not begging me to be on there. You're already creating, you're already making a place for my brand on your stuff. Cool. Let me go do that. That's how I started working with Eric Thomas. Was I created videos,
Yeah. I remember that
and
story. That was a great story.
yeah, and it was like, yo, you got to work with us because you're already moving in that way. It's the same it's the same formula like Rick Ross has done to get majority of his brand deals. He's not asking them off the way. He's already moving as he works with them. So try to create a environment and a way that shows brands and shows people that, yo, I was already working with you before we even had this conversation. I was already championing the brand as if I'm already a part of it. And it actually shows like, okay, this is not just a greed thing. This is not like, what can I do for you situation. Like, you really are about the brand. You understand the vision. I get it. So when it comes to collaborations and things like that, I like going that route and showing it's a mutual situation because it lowers the barrier of defense. It's like, I appreciate. All right, thank you. All right, hold on. Yeah, absolutely. You've done these different things already. Absolutely.
It's like you're already bringing the value, right? You're bringing the
Mhm.
value to the doorstep already, and then you're figuring like, worst case scenario, I just created some valuable content. Now, hopefully, like you were saying, it's going to get this person's attention, but it's a great way to kind of plant that seed, and
Yep.
it's also a great way to do it consistently too. Plus,
Yep.
you put out some fire. You don't know who else might see what you did. You know, with the attempt to work with this person or just put the content out, you might actually attract someone else,
Yep. This is
which
a
I
big
think
fact.
would be fire. So I just got one final question, and guys, I'm gonna give you guys an opportunity. If you have any final questions for Nikki, drop them in the chat below. Um, so right now, with so many changes going on with social,
Mhm.
what should people's goals be? Right. So
Mhm.
you're on there right now. I mean, Instagram just announced changes going on with they're bringing the NFT in the fold.
Yep.
They put more priority on video than photo sharing now. So
Yep.
what ultimately should a creator's goal be? Should it be to get their followers off off social into their own community so they could work with them more intimately? Should it be to amplify their voices? What do you think creators' goals should be right now?
I think that's more of a personal question for creator than rather me asking. But how I'll answer that is that everybody should have a goal and you shouldn't move on social media without one. Like, you shouldn't be on there just because everybody is doing it. I'm creating video because that's where the energy is. Like, there's still bloggers that are making over six figures. You know, there are always photographers
Yeah.
that are making a guap of money, whether it's from Twitter, whether it's still from Instagram. They've just learned how to manipulate their photos to work with the algorithm. You know, podcast is making millions of dollars every single year. Every form of content works. It is more of what you are trying to get out of it. Are you trying to do more of an impact situation? Are you doing more of a monetization situation? Or are you doing both? And where are you in your brand? Are you in a season of brand awareness? Are you in a season of retention? Are you in a season of conversion? You have to sit down and be like, okay, what am I doing? What am I trying to do by being on social media? What, like, not okay, I'm getting a whole bunch of followers, because what are you going to do with them?
Yep.
Right? Like, okay, I'm getting a whole bunch of comments. What are you going to do with it? So it's not really about the number, it's about the action. How am I trying to create a community? Am I trying to create a power brand? Am I trying to give back? Am I trying to gain status? What am I trying to do? Write that all the way out. And how can social media be a tool to accomplish this particular thing? Because it's only a tool, it's not everything. Like,
Just a part of
you,
it.
it's just a part of what your big picture is. But we move with no big picture. We just move because everybody is on social media. We move because then we see numbers. Yo, somebody's making this amount on YouTube. Let me get on YouTube.
Yep.
And but you're not really understanding the different phases of it, right? And then you get flustered, and then you stop because
You
you
stop.
never started with a goal. So though there is a lot of changes happening, it's going to be more. Your goal should never change. These algorithms, these platforms are always going to change, but your goal in that season should never change. Once that season is done, absolutely change it. You may be like, you know what, in this season, I need to concentrate on YouTube, because just like how you said, Instagram wasn't playing right. And my goal is to get my voice out
Mm-hmm.
somehow, some way. So I got to use another tool to make sure that voice gets out there, right? In order to run the play of getting them in the particular course to then become part of the mastermind. There's a whole big deal. But remembering this is a tool and it's not everything.
Looks like we got one final question
Mhm.
before we wrap up. This one's coming from Al.
Okay.
He's asking, knowing that everything takes time to find a result
Yep.
and that the success that it brings is relative,
Yep.
what's a realistic expectation when we'll notice the benefits of using social media in our business?
That a stranger, one random stranger a days, uh, knows who you are.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
A stranger, somebody you've never met. Bump your family and friends. That's what we get really emotional about. Oh my God, they're not buying. They're your family and friends. Stop it. When a random stranger, no matter where they're located, gets to know who you are, and you don't have to be outside shaking hand, kissing babies, being at these events and things like that, that's a win. That's a realistic expectation. Can I get one person that I don't know completely? Because unrealistic is like, yo, I'm gonna post something and thousands of people are gonna like it. Do you know what to do with those thousands of people? If you had thousands of people in a room, like a legit room, like, would you know what to do with them? No, probably not. Right. So, like, there's a power in one, because if you can attract one and you can nurture to one, that one is going to bring two, that one is going to bring five, that one is going to bring 10, possibly, who, depending who they are, 50, hundreds of people. But we our goal is to attract so many of people we've never met,
Yep.
and yet we're not talking to the thousands
Yep.
and of people that we attract.
It might
So
be that one or two person, like you said. Yeah,
yeah,
that one.
that one or two. This is the thing. I know a person who has about 1,000 followers that all their bills are paid for. Everybody's like, I need more followers. I need more followers. I need this. I need that. Their engagement is higher than most of the people who have thousands of of followers. Their bank account is higher than thousands of other people that have thousands of followers. So it's understanding that, yo, if I take care of the right people, those people are going to stay loyal, and all my dreams and money goals that I have can be possibly done by just this group of people. And maybe I was just meant to speak to this group of people and change their lives for them to make global impact. I'm just a part of this bigger picture. But sometimes we always want to be the bigger picture, and that's not the case.
Yeah, that was fire right there. There was so many gems in that answer that you unpacked. So we're about to wrap up. My guy Vince just asked a question, but I want to be respectful of time. So you mind if
Oh,
we get
okay.
one more
Go
in?
ahead. Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. So Vince asks if Nikki takes a picture, do you get the urge to post it on a feed or immediately think about how to make it a reel? And then his second question is, where can he go to purchase the Lion NFT?
So the the second part, the line NFT, is only going to be for my community. Deeper than the brand, we already sold 3 NFTs in there. They're all sold out. So
So
that's a
you gotta get in the community
yeah.
to
You
have
got to get in the community for the NFT drops.
yeah.
Because I'm not. I'm There's a whole strategy to that. Two, I do feel this is it. I always feel like I want to post, right? But I understand that there's going to be up and down days. So I have to come up with like, yo, bare minimum, I'm posting once a day.
Yeah.
No more than maybe 2 to 3 a day. If I figured out something else, I'm leaving it for the next day. So yes, I always feel like I want to post something now, but strategically, I understand that, you know, there may be a day I won't have that creative vibe. There may be a day I'm super busy or I'm traveling or anything like that. So I kind of like space it out.
And I think also it kind of goes back to what you're saying on the baseline, what you said earlier, right?
Yep.
So your baseline, obviously looking at the analytics, but maybe your baseline is to post, like you said, that once a day or that
Yep.
twice a day, or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
So Nikki, I want to thank you for
Absolutely.
putting the time aside to come on the
Absolutely.
show, to give a lot of value, to give a lot of gems. I know the community definitely appreciated you. Um, Guys, if you missed anything, this will be up immediately on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it. Definitely, Nikki just gave so many gems. I feel like if maybe you missed it the first time, and maybe you want to go back and just listen to something that she said, and you might actually receive it differently. But if they want to work with you, if they
Mhm.
want to get more information on how to, be a part of your community,
Mhm.
maybe get more insight directly from you,
Yeah.
how would they be able to do that?
Deeperthanthebrand.com, or follow me on Instagram. There's a lovely link in the bio that literally walks you through what level you're on. So if you're level 1 to 4, you're going to get directed to whatever program that's appropriate for you. If you're 4 and above, you'll get directed to I2C or the waiting list of I2M. So like either way, deeperthanthebrand.com or the link in my bio on my Instagram, and follow me on Instagram at this is Nikki's NICKY, not NIKKI or none of that, S at the end, and follow the podcast, Nikki and Moose. The podcast is a really fire podcast.
And actually, if you guys click the link in Nikki's bio, she got this really dope link in the bio where it's her explaining what you can do, what
Yeah.
options you have, which I think is super fire because there's so many different ways you can get that link in the bio, from Linktree, Direct.me, Campsite, things like that. That ass video is fire.
Thank
So you
you.
guys look, definitely make sure you tap in with Nikki. Episode 59 is crazy. I went this whole thing started because Instagram banned me from going live, and look, 60 episodes later, on the way to 100. I'm so appreciative and grateful that you're episode 59, and I would love to have you back at
Absolutely.
some point. You guys make sure you follow, check out the podcast that Nikki has as well. And we will see you guys next time. Tomorrow, episode 60, I got somebody also super incredible on. We're going to be talking about buying businesses online. So you don't want to miss that. All right, y'all. We'll see you tomorrow. Nikki, again, thank you.
Appreciate you.